Welcome back to another video, and today I will be doing a palette ranking. So I will be ranking altogether 8 palettes that I've been trying from the beginning of October to the midway of November, which is the time that I'm filming this video. And there will be quite a lot of holiday palettes included in this. However, there are still some holiday Christmas themed palettes that are coming to me. So those will be probably featured in the December video. But let's get to the ranking itself. So the first palette, or not the first, so this is ranking the 8. So unfortunately this is ranked as the least favorite palette from the palettes that I've been trying recently. And the palette in question is this. So this is the Dior Promenade Dorée, which is one of the palettes from their holiday collection this season. And then I'm going to show how this will. Let's make some. Yeah. So the reason why this is ranking so low, first of all, I'm very happy I didn't buy this full price. I managed to get this on a minus 20% discount at my local department store. And I have to say that there will be a Dior palette in this video ranking much higher. And the reason why this is ranking much lower compared to that is, first of all, is that this lacks depth for me. So the only very deep shade is this one dark brown here. And because this is the only deepening up shade that the palette has, you are basically sort of confined to either creating looks with golds or then a look with a pop of silver. And I was hoping that this more darker golden shade here would work as another deepening up shade, but unfortunately all the gold shade, which altogether this has 3, all the gold shades sort of sinking to my skin. So because I have a fair skin tone, these sort of golds without a deepening up shade, they then tend to look quite washed out once I apply them to my skin. So because of how this is priced, and unfortunately also because of the color story, this is ranking the lowest. Additionally, and this is something that will come up later with the Dior palette that I have ranked much higher, is that I feel that the formula of this is very thin. So a lot of these higher end formulas are satin-like formulas, and I think that itself, there's nothing wrong with that. However, with this, I felt that even with the more darker brown shade and with all of these gold and then this one silver shade, you really have to build and build and build to get this to show up on your lid. And with a fair skin tone, if I have to build up the shades, I can't really say how this would perform with someone who has a deeper skin tone than me. So, and also I didn't feel that the formula lasted that long during the daytime compared to some of the other palettes in this ranking. So yeah, I'd say this probably was a bit of a dud purchase for me. I will have to see, will this get decluttered at some point, and later on in the video I will be showing a Dior palette that I think is much more worth its price, because this is one of the quints, and because this is one of their holiday releases, the actual price of this is over 70 euros in my country. Like I said, I did get this on a discount, and thank God for that, because if I would have paid the over 70 euros for this, I'd say I'd be even more disappointed than I already am. But if you're looking for this sort of very nice subtle look, then I'd say that this is something that you might like, but just so you're aware, this isn't going to get you anything very spectacular. So the 7th palette is a palette that I have actually gotten very recently. However, because it's a quad, I was already able to include it in the ranking. So this is I'm gonna see which side, yeah. So this is a quad from Kiko Milano, and I recently visited Brussels and I had some time there to go on a Kiko store. And these quads, they aren't listed on their website, so you probably will have to go to store to get these. I will just now open it, and first thing why I have to hold it very tightly. So this compact is the glue that it has under, it really didn't hold the pan. So this pan pretty much came loose the moment I got it out of my travel bag, and I have to be very careful with it because otherwise the pan will slip out of the compact. The shades themselves, why this is for example ranking higher than the Dior, well, first of all, this is fraction of the price, so this is only 12 or 13 euros. And also this is the like a good Kiko quality, so quality wise and considering the price you pay for this, there's nothing wrong with the shadows. However, it's very limited in terms of what looks you can do, and that is particularly because one of the mattes is this beige or matte, almost like matte white color. So you are basically confined doing these very sort of reddish orangey looks. Also, the second reason why this is ranking a bit lower, aside from how limited it is and also because the packaging is not that well made, is that these two shimmers, when I swatched them in stores, they looked very opaque and like they packed a punch, but I have actually a reel or a YouTube shorts in my channel showcasing this quad in which I used all of the 4 shades, and actually on the eyelids these two didn't translate as opaque as they did when I swatched them on my arm. So that is also something why it's ranking a bit lower. But compared to a Dior, like I'm already much happier with this one because first of all I didn't pay over 70 euros of it, and I do think that the shades build much better and they do actually last on your eyes the whole day. It's just that it is quite limited to what you can do with it. Next palette, I think we're now on number 6. So this is the Pat McGrath holiday palette, and this is the bigger one I got. So this is the Starstruck Splendour, and I'm gonna try to open it and see if we can fit both of us in the same frame, because this is like much bigger. Like I said in my I have a review of the holiday collection on my channel, and this is like much bigger than what the website made it look. So the reason why this ranks the lowest, you will be seeing later on the smaller holiday palette, but why this ranks lower than the smaller quint is that purely because of the color story. So the shades themselves, like I said, my favorite probably are the blushes, and this blush shade is already something that I do actually have in my collection. But the eyeshadow shades themselves, there isn't like nothing particularly unique about them. You can get a nice brown or mauvish look, and then there are these sort of green toned, more sort of green bluish shimmers here which makes it a bit more like unique, but still most of the shades are these sort of very traditional Pat McGrath shades that we have seen on her other palettes. Also, the second reason why this ranks lower is because the shimmers, they do feel a bit dry to the touch. It doesn't affect their performance per se, and all the shades generally on your eyelids, they will last you through the whole day. But the shimmers they are good basic shimmers, but they aren't nothing spectacular or unordinary. So because of the color story and just because it's something that we have seen from Pat McGrath quite many times, that's the reason why this ranks 6th on my palette ranking today. And to the palette number 5. So palette number 5 ranks the second Pat McGrath holiday palette that I got this year. So this is the Lunar Nightshade quints, and altogether she came out, I believe, with 5 quints this year. And I'm going to now open this so you will be able to see it. So the reason why this ranks 5th, first of all, like I said on my review, the purple shade, that's a dot. Unfortunately for me, the only matte shade in this palette, it's very patchy. It's hard to work with, and I generally just don't like it. And when you're considering that you're paying Pat McGrath prices for these, then you're kind of expect that the performance of all the shades should be at least decent at best. Second reason why it ranks as it does is because these two more silvery-based white shades, these look almost identical once you get them to your eyelids. So if you have altogether a quint that only has 5 shades, you would expect that each shade would bring something unique to the table. But unfortunately, because these two are quite similar, that also ranks it lower. However, why this is still higher than the Starstruck Splendour is that still as a color story, I do feel this is a bit more unique. And also the shimmer shades, even though the matte shade formula is quite dull, the shimmer shade formulas all are very smooth, they're very beautiful, and I like their formulation much more than the shimmers on the bigger palette. So that is the reason why this ranks the 5th today. More holiday next. So on the 4th, this was a bit of a perhaps even surprise how I ranked this. So as you probably can guess from a video, I have been now on a kick of trying these sort of more traditional department store luxury brands, and on the other hand, I think it has been good because I think I have now gotten the impression of what I like from those brands and what I probably will stay away from buying in the future. However, to the palette, for the palette itself, so this is from the Chanel holiday collection this year, and I will get it open. And now I actually have to check on my notes what the name was this. Lumiere Graphique is the name of the palette. So just like the Dior Quint, this is also Quint, so it has 5 shades. And why this ranks 4th, so I think what sort of steps this up, for example, if we're comparing this to the Dior, because these are quite similarly priced, I think this might be a tad more expensive, but they are like within the same category of products and brands. So why this is ranking much higher is, first of all, I don't feel that with this you have to build and build and build these shades. So these are all like satin shimmer shades. So again, you don't get much mattes in these. However, with these I feel that you don't have to like build them too much to get them to show up on your lids. Also, the durability of these, I think during the daytime is much better compared to the Dior. And lastly, what sets this apart from the Dior is that with this one, they blend quite nicely together, but also you get there is more depth in this palette. So there are actually 2 shades. There's the middle one that is black, and then this more brownish one beside it. So with this one, I just feel that it's a bit more versatile than the Dior, and I do like how effortless this is. So with this one, I haven't felt that I need to work too hard. The looks that I come out with this are all very beautiful. They are very sort of these old school glam looks, and just the way that I think the colors have been chosen for this, all of the colors complement each other, but they are still all unique colors on their own. So I don't feel that this has, for example, as much repetition as the Dior palette has within its shade. So I say if you're thinking about if you like this sort of Quint format, then I would definitely pay I think are these around 80 euros? I think so. But yeah, they are like a bit more expensive than the Dior ones, but I would actually like pay a bit more to get this one than, for example, the Dior, because I think you will be much more happier in terms of the formulation and in terms of the variety, and also in terms of the durability of the shades, if this is a format of eyeshadow that you really want to spend your money on. But if you're not this sort of luxury Quint person, then don't spend money on this. There are certainly other kinds of eyeshadows that you can get with the same amount of money, and you can get more shades. For example, Natasha Denona palettes are cheaper than this one, and you get more shades. Or there are a lot of good indie brands if you want something more exciting that will cost less, and you might get some special shades and generally just more shades. So think before buying, is this something that you like? And of course, if it is, then I can recommend this, because I do feel that the quality and the diversity this has is worth its price. Okay, we're getting to the top 3 now, and I'd say that the third palette in this ranking, probably even, I'm actually a bit surprised that I ranked this palette as the number 3, but I have very good reasons. So this is the Dior Backstage Silver Essentials. So Dior, I think they launched in the Backstage line. They usually launch 2 palettes on the spring and 2 palettes in the like sort of fall winter time. And with this one, they came out with the more brownish reddish one, and then they came out with the Silver Essentials one. And don't spend your money on the Dior Quints, buy this one. So the Backstage line is the more affordable line that the Dior has, even though of course this is also like priced. This is 54 euros, I think, is the price of this in my country. But first of all, you get more shades, so you already get more variety because you have more shades in this. And I'm gonna take the lid off because it reflects the ring light. So you already get more shades in this, and I have to say that I like the shade quality of this also much more than, for example, the Holiday Quints. These are satin shades, so again, these are something that will suit mature lids or textured lids. But unlike with the Holiday Quint, with this one, I felt that you didn't need build endlessly to get the shades to show up. So these actually you can build to get quite an opaque layer on your lids, and some of these do actually pack quite a punch if you layer them a couple of times. Also, what particularly surprised me is that how effortless everything blends together. So even though some of these shades are darker, especially these like dark shades and in this corner, even though these might look dark and intimidating, even on my fair skin, I was able to blend them and get a look that looked very smooth and blended out, but the color still remained on my lid, so I didn't have the issue that the dark colors blended away. And third reason why this ranks so high is that there is some diversity in the looks, and you can create this so you can sort of get a more lilac look, then you can get a silver look, and then you can get a classic smoky eye. So I think compared to the Holiday Quint, and why this ranks generally so high is that I think this is a good, I would say that this is quite good value for the money if you're in the market for this sort of a 9-pan from Dior. The formulation quality of this is just excellent. And I think this is a palette that would suit quite many different customer segments. So someone looking for something just quick and easy to blend on their crease will like this, but also someone who wants to create more dramatic looks will also enjoy this. And also generally within my collection, I don't have a color story. Like I have like maybe individual colors in different palettes, but I don't have a color story in one palette aside from this one. So yeah, a bit of a surprise for me. So for example, the only downside of this is, of course, like many luxury palettes, is that the shimmers, they aren't these sort of, you aren't getting any sparkly, shifty, multi-chrome shimmers in this, but I don't think the customer who is primarily buying this is someone who expects those. Like the brightest shimmer you will get is this one on the middle, but even that one, it's very, very smooth, very subtle. So again, if you are someone who has a texture on their eyelids, you will enjoy all of the shades in this. But yeah, that's my number 3, and if you can still find this somewhere, I would recommend buying it, but I do know this has sold out in quite many places, but if you find it and you like the color story, then definitely a recommendation. And now for the second favorite palette of this ranking. So this is the Glaminatrix Rich Romantic, and this is the first Glaminatrix palette that I tried, and my god, my ring light is very, very much washing the packaging out. But I'm just gonna show the inside, so yeah, that's much better. So first of all, in terms of the color story, if this ranking would be purely based on color story, this would be my number 1, because this is a very me color story. It has duochromes, multichromes, and it has pinks, purples, and a bit of peach, and some neutral browns and darker reds. So purely from color story perspective, this should rank as number 1. However, there are a few qualms I have about this palette. So first of all, the matte formulas. The matte formula is very blendable. It's very, you will be able to get it to show up on your, build an opaque layer on your lid. However, I felt that particularly with the lighter matte, so the orangey one and then this pale, this sort of pale purpley one, and even with this more mid-tone pink and brownish one, the matte formula is a bit of thinner formula. So I think compared to some other indie formulas, I did feel that particularly with the lighter shades, I did have to build them a bit, but they will build to a full opaque layer. But it's just something that I noticed that with the darker mattes, I felt that you really needed a couple of layers, and those were good. And generally the mattes, they do blend nicely together, and there is some, I think all of the shades generally, they go together very well. However, my main issue with this is that the shimmers are very beautiful. There's quite many shifts in here. Some of them might be that they actually do look quite similar on the eyes. So for example, there are a couple of ones that shift to a gold. So once you apply them to a layer of matte color, they can look a bit similar to each other. But generally they are very beautiful and smooth. Unfortunately with me though, the shimmers, almost all of them crease, and I can deal with a little bit of creasing on my lids. That's not an issue, but these actually crease so that if, for example, I put my makeup on in the morning around 8 o'clock, and once I get to the afternoon at 3 o'clock in my workplace, I will notice in the mirror that they have creased almost, so that some of the color has like creased away. And even though I, sorry, And even though I do try to patch the crease shimmers down, it really doesn't exactly help them. They will quite quickly crease again. And it's actually something strange because I watched a lot of reviews because Glaminatrix did send this on PR to quite many influencers, and I know quite many people have bought this. So I don't know, is it again maybe an issue with the eyeshadow base I use? I use the Gloss Gods eyeshadow base, and generally with that one I haven't had an issue of these sort of multi-chrome shimmers creasing, but again can't really say why. So just because of the creasing and how that affects the longevity of the palette, that's the only reason why this ranks the second and not the first one. But still a beautiful formulation, a beautiful palette in general. So if you are planning to still get this and you want to spend the money on it, and you like the color story, I think you can't go wrong. Just maybe try to use true, maybe not an eyeshadow base, but maybe try to see if like a NYX glitter primer or something will work better with the shimmers on this. But yeah, very beautiful palette altogether still, and definitely I am happy that I have now tried Glaminatrix, and I still think that I would like to try another palette from them in somewhere in the future. And drum rolls please, we are getting to the first palette. So the first palette of this month's, or well, half a month's ranking. So first one, Angelica, Nyqvist and the Oden second collab, the Helaween collab, and I chose the Little Ghost palette, so this is the only palette I got from the collaboration. And I'm gonna now open this. You probably have seen this quite many times by now. And yeah, so the reason why this ranks the highest, I'm gonna see if I can actually bend the mirror. Yeah, we can now work with this, yeah. So the reason why this ranks the highest, so in terms of color story, like I said, the Glaminatrix one would have ranked above this because in terms of color story, this does have some like blues and purples, and if you have watched any of my videos, and when I talk about eyeshadows, blues and purples aren't my favorites. However, this has some blue and purple tones that I actually do like to work with. First of all, the formula of this, the shimmer formulas are very, very good. There is a variety here, so we have some more multichromes, we have more opaque shimmer formulas, and then we have these sort of shifty toppery shades. And I do like generally the mix and variety of the textures that we have. All of the mattes are very beautiful. This has a very nice, I know Angie, for example, likes to talk a lot about that she wants depths in her palette, and I truly think that shows in this. So we have a nice mix of very light matte shades, but we also have a good mix of mid-tone shades, and then we have the deepening up shades. The only like dot matte is this one, so this is the matte that's named according to the palette, Little Ghost. This is the only sort of matte that is a dot, so once you place this on the corner of your lid, it really doesn't move anywhere, so that's the only thing that you should be aware of. However, because that is the only dot shade in the whole palette, that is why I had to rank this higher than the Glaminatrix one, which had almost with all of the shimmers the issues of creasing that I discussed previously. However, with this one, there is like really only one matte that you really have to work a bit harder with, but other than that, the shades all are very, very good. The usual excellent Oden's eye formula. And I do actually think that I will give some additional points because by this point, Oden's eye has come out with quite a lot of these sort of more colorful color stories. That is sort of their main thing that they do. They did recently come out with more of these sort of neutral toned palettes, or well, that was before now that they came out with their Christmas collection, but the Jewels and Gems palette, for example, that I'm currently in the process of testing, that was their sort of first try at more neutral color stories. But despite this being a more like a colorful, still a colorful palette, I do think that this is something quite unique in the Oden's eye family of palettes, because for example, I own quite a lot of their palettes and I don't have anything like this from them. And when I generally like made some comparisons from the palettes they have had available and have available now on their website, this really does, I think, stand out as being also unique in terms of the color story. But yeah, I already mentioned in some other videos, very good work from Angie, and I'm very happy she still got a second collab with them. So yeah, but that was the last palette of this ranking video. So we're finally at the end. What did you think about my ranking? Did you agree with them? Did you maybe disagree with some of my choices? Comment them down below. But as always, be constructive about your feedback. And if you like this video, then push the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to get notifications from my future content, then press the bell button, which is somewhere below the screen. But I was very happy that you have watched the video, and I hope I will see you again soon. Bye bye!